Greetings, friends, this is FNGR, and we're back with That Creepy Reading, criticizing one of Vita Pony's videos, but at least at the start of the podcast here. Well, at least at the continuation of the podcast here. We'll talk about censorship, social justice warriors, and all kinds of other crazy fun crap. This is a continuation of the We Don't Forgive Toon Critic thing, so if it sounds weird that it still has the same title, it's because, you know, it's part of the first half that kinda sorta did, so here you go. Sadly, of the 4.5 hours, this is the last part that I'm allowed to share with all of you guys. All aboard the hype train. The other day, myself, Thought Bubble Brittany, Rockamoo, and Sam Hot Lion sat down with That Creepy Reading. We talked about the Ren and Stimpy controversy, and John Kricfalusi, I'll put the name on screen. There are some serious allegations made by one of the younger girls he worked with, including grooming a girl since she was 14 till she was 16. You know, there's a long discussion and some of the more imaginative interests that the man had and how it might reflect on his content are things that we covered. So again, I look forward to ruining your childhoods because I'm an awful, terrible, miserable human being. But yeah, we're back with the Lost Narrator, Jim Fear, and That Creepy Reading. Side note, to anyone who saw The Last Town Out to Brony, believe it or not, it was supposed to be about the dragon guy, but, you know, on the 11th hour I found out about Dusky Novel ERPing with minors. If you don't want to share the video because, you know, the dragon part, make your own video. His confession plus interview is up on BitChute. I'll link that down below one more time. I'm still waiting for old Jerry to cover this topic. I don't suppose he's going to skip it just because I had his old friend Thought Bubble Brittany on there, will he? My word, that's grossly unprofessional. You know, that's just a theory, but I'm thinking of bringing her along for these if we could manage, just so we could test that theory, because if he stops talking about these just because Brittany's on there, that would be telling. That would be interesting. See you next time.
And then there was that one video, I don't know who uploaded it, but it was called Pedophile Alert, and that's, oh man.
I think that was
Vietnam
Vita's
flashbacks.
Video,
wasn't that Vita's video? Wasn't it?
It might have been one of Vita's videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
And
sure
believe
that was
it or
the one.
not, when I say Vita's video, it wasn't the first video he uploaded on it.
No, there
was the second one that was uploaded by, like, I think his friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Russian Jace.
And I saw that one, and I thought that video was admittedly poorly done. Because, you know, the whole thesis of the video was like, oh, toon critics and pedophile, and he did awful illegal things, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes on and talks about every bad thing Toon Critic did, but like instead of like keeping it like on focus on like the illegal things, objectively illegal, persecutable, jailable, finable offenses, he like brings in like, oh, Toon Critic called this girl a cuck one time, and
I'm gonna have to stop you right there, friend. Unfortunately, I was one of those people for a long time out to try and shave Toon from the pack, and those friends really weren't budging on that. There were enough rotten things that Toon did.
No, he did a lot of rotten. I mean, if he did a video that the thesis was every bad thing Toon Critic did, that would be one thing. But when he started including, he's like, you know, he's going like all serious, right? Like serious mode, like Serious Sam, right? And he's like, he did awful things like try to touch children and try to slap asses at cons and do this and then do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm following you. And then there's this one time when he called this individual a idiot. And I'm like, wait, what? Why are we including that?
I think you're a little bit off point.
Why is this person? And then the next one, I was like, oh, okay. And then it gets right back in. It's like, oh, and then he blackmailed this person for photos. And I'm like, okay. Wait, why were those last two in there?
I guess I could see him being included just like on the basis of like presenting a profile of behavior.
I was going to say
like a behavioral record.
Yeah, there was certainly enough reasons in there where there should have been people who of those friends. I've had a couple conversations with a couple of them where I had another guy with Masterco going, yeah, that's pretty much true, and I ended up telling one of Toon's friends. And their big response was, they're like, okay, I walk away. One of my friends comes back and says, they're very upset with you. You're very lucky you're not cut off right now. So, yeah, I'm not angry at Vito for having a swing at Toon's ex-friends. No. I'm gonna... Let me send you a name there, Lost. the person I told that to. I've said it before in a video.
Oh, okay.
By the way,
I'm hand to God, I'm not making that up. I don't hate that person. That's true.
No,
No, I understand. I think she's a fun person. She's a sweetheart, but that's true.
Yeah, that person, if I remember correctly, was possibly also another victim. And it how do I put this? I don't blame them for not saying something because I know what it feels like to be in that kind of situation, being scared.
I understand that too, but excluding the name from what I heard from my source is someone who was in a podcast with Jim last time and me and a couple other people. That person was in touch with Toon on strictly a business arrangement at that point.
Yeah,
which is a little weird. That you had enough reasons to stop being their friend, but you're willing to be with them at business at that point. I don't know.
Look, Bill Cosby was successful at one point too.
There was this person had enough juice. I felt enough personality and enough people who would have gone to their side. Where I'm like,
oh yeah, that's why I'm torn on that because I can see it from both sides. But if that was me in that position, no, I would have not let that stand fucking whatsoever. Like, I would have said something, especially when it comes to something of that fucking nature. That's why
Narrator, why do you not have 100,000 subscribers?
I don't know. I think it's the algorithm hating me. I don't know.
Why can't we get this person 100,000 subscribers? You need that plaque, my dude.
I want that plaque. Mag has her plaque. I want to put her right next to Mag's. So
best couple.
Yeah.
Magpie is
Magpie Pony. She's my fiance.
Aww.
I had a 50-50 chance where I was going to say girlfriend or wife and get in trouble.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! She has a lot. She has a lot.
Oh yeah, she's got all them subs.
She's a what's the phrase?
What is it?
Famous boy.
Oh man, does she have
horse
that
famous?
Horse fame? Does she has that horse fame? God, I hate that fucking term so much. I fucking hate that term.
I look at that pony and I'm like, God damn, that's some horse fame right there. She's almost as famous as my horse Sugar Sprinkles.
Jesus.
I was gonna say, when I meet people that use that shit unironically, I internally just scream because I'm just like, it's the most nothing. We don't mean shit outside this fandom, so fucking hell, stop.
Look at the ones that made it outside.
You've done creepypasta narrations, right?
Oh yeah, no, I do. They barely get any views though compared to my my Grimdarks.
Oh, you need to know that creepypasta is like kind of dying unless you're Mr. Creepypasta.
Oh yeah, unless you're Mr. But even then, his numbers, his
numbers have gone down significantly. He only gets like 50K views per video, and like for a channel with like 1 million subs.
Yeah, that's bad.
I have a pleb question. What's the
up?
difference between Grimdark and creepypasta?
Creepypasta has more of an air of like human reality kind of thing. Grimdark is more of an overarching term when it comes to subgenres of fan fiction, and it even goes back all the way to Warframe. Or no, Warhammer, not Warframe.
Yeah, like Warhammer 40K. That's kind of the epitome of the grim dark.
Yep.
So it's more sci-fi, basically, is what you're saying?
Yes. No, it's not. It's not necessarily sci-fi. It's just like an overwhelming feeling of helplessness and futility in the literature itself.
It's basically the horror section for
it is.
Creepypasta is more like internet campfire stories. Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it.
They're both horror, but they describe horror in different subtextual contexts. Like is it a fictional work based on another property? We'll call it grimdark. If it's a story about a 15-year-old playing Mario Party that kills him, it's a creepypasta.
And then there's also this. There's also this weird middle ground of MLP creepypastas, which are stories that take a real life element to it. and then make it a creepypasta, but it's based off the MLP entity.
I read one of those. It was about this 15-year-old girl who watched an episode, and it was really spooky. And for some reason, she went into this like haunted asylum to talk about it with some psychiatric mental patient who apparently wrote the episode, and then it turns out that it was haunted and she died because I said, 15-year-olds and creepypastas, you just kind of died for stupid reasons.
See, now
how did they write it?
I read one where it was a mom who was talking about her child watching Netflix and watching like more episodes and seasons of MLP, and they would get more and more fucked up. And she was writing letters to Hasbro like, "Why the fuck are you putting this on Netflix?" And like it was kind of scary, but in like the grand scheme of things, it's all right.
It was like
I just
like
looked at your channel, The Lost Extras, and it's just your profile picture is just one of your ass.
Oh yeah, no, because it's Lost Extras is no fucks given. That's where everything that is not polished, or if I need to make a statement of something, that's where it goes. It doesn't go on the main channel. So
you were saying, Jim?
No.
That happens to me all the time.
I need to collab with you at some point. I'll totally contact you at a later point.
I was gonna say, was this your mission all along?
Yes, that's how Vita bribed me.
Yeah, the moment I heard he said Lost Narrator, I was like, I wonder if I could get lost finally. That's my ticket. I only have to dangle anybody with 100,000 subs for it.
No, if you are more than welcome to poke me. I'm not like I would like to think I'm not that unreachable. I'm just very busy. That's my problem.
Well, you're worth it, Lost. Don't worry about it.
Aw, thank you.
Oh, by the way, we did discuss my nominal fee, FNGR, which is me being in
I thought Lost Narrator was the nominal fee. What are you talking about? She's top shelf.
The thumbnail, you told me you're going to give me top billing.
Oh. Well, I'm putting your name on the title. Shit.
Oh,
there.
dude.
Unless Lost and Magpie start yelling at me, then all bets are off. Shit.
Oh, my God.
Look, me and Magpie are going to have a war about who needs to be in the thumbnail and who doesn't. And let me tell you, the conclusion we're coming to is we're going to have to cut you, FNGR.
Well, I've kept myself out of many of the thumbnails. They already know it's my channel, so why bother pimping yourself on it? If you're there.
And speaking of this, we're gonna undelete Toon Critic's channel and put this there.
Oh God, help me no.
Let's see.
Also, I have YouTube on my second screen here, and I just saw that. And speaking of asses.
Oh, boy.
Fucking cracked. Jesus Christ.
It's been forever since I've seen their shit.
Okay, you want to hear some juicy drama alert related stuff?
By all means.
All right. Okay.
You fucking kidding? That's it. That's FNGR stock in trade, man. That's what he feels.
I like how restrained Toon Critic was too. Just like, yeah, I wouldn't mind, just secretly popping a boner right there too. Yeah, it's great.
I've seen him get upset for far less. I didn't know what was going on, and I just watched this and going, what?
So, you guys know Watch Mojo, right?
Huh?
Yes.
Well, one thing that I did when I was working for Tats back in the day was modify some of the facts about the creepypastas, so I'd know when people took my wording. And what they did is quote one of the false facts I did word for word in their own video.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the same thing in they did the same thing for their disturbing video games lists, but they quoted our violent and gory games list.
Did they cite you?
Hell no.
Oh,
do you think Watch Mojo's gonna cite us? God. I know top 15s or whatever straight up just took Tats' footage at one point and just didn't credit him until Tats called him out, and then they credited him. Like no compensation or anything, just okay, I guess we'll credit you now. Because their hands have been caught. We caught Mind Chop taking footage from Blame It on George. And like they just straight up like took a section of his editing, and it was like a heavily edited segment that George did in his own video, and they just plopped it into their own. Just right there. The top 10, like the big top 10 people, like are kind of just awful people, dude.
They sound like garbage people.
No, really?
I know. Who would have
You
thought?
mean the guys who rely on listicles and other people's content to make a buck are just awful people? I never would have fucking guessed. This is like Moses coming down from the mountain with the tablets of God and shit.
I make listicles too, but mine are actually good. Like, you know, I like to compare myself more to Larry Bundy Jr.
The thing that you said there that kind of kicked me off is the first top tenor I talked to in the Brony fandom. Does anybody know who Jay Holler is?
Yes.
Yeah, we had him on the old podcast back in the day, and I was like, I'm going to tell you straight up, Jay, I don't like your work. And his response is, what work? And I was like, damn, how do I stay angry at this guy?
Holy shit.
If he's that self-aware, then...
Oh, yeah, no, like, he winded up telling me this crazy story, how he jumped in a pool and split his head open and shit like this. He's like, why, what's going on? Why do I gotta get out of the pool now? Or I smuggled alcohol into BronyCon, and he's sitting there making mixed drinks, and they winded up, like, grabbing him. I'm like, yeah.
Fuck yes.
That was my interpretation.
I mean,
yeah.
I make lists, you know, too. And I like to find weird, obscure shiznit that no one knows about, and I like to kind of put a spotlight on that.
Well, yeah,
you know,
but you also do original stuff too. It's not like your channel. I mean, I'm assuming. I haven't actually gone and like done my research before.
Well,
like
when I started the channel, I was a creepypasta narrator, but then creepypastas kind of fell out of style, and the only people who could make it work was Creeps and MCP and all that. So I swapped over to the Let's Not Meet stories, and I did Let's Not Meet and all that fun stuff until the YouTube adpocalypse hit, and then I swapped over to doing the. I took my Let's Not Meet format, which was narrate 10 stories in one video and have a long video, and then just kind of swapped it over to 10 things about other things, or 20 or 9 or 8. It's not even like a top 10s really. It's just a list of things I want to talk about. I'm kind of taking what I like to consider to be original content, right? And then putting it into a listicle format, so that way people I can kind of extrapolate a few more views because people really like that format.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's kind of like, I mean, as long as you're keeping it like original, like you're not just like reading a wiki or something like that, because that's a huge problem that I have with the Warhammer 40k lore people. There's a lot of channels on YouTube that do Warhammer 40k lore videos, and you can literally go to the Warhammer 40k wiki and read along with them. Like, Arch Warhammer is the only guy out of that community that I can actually watch because he makes it fun. He, like, reads the thing and then does a long fucking hour-long ramble about this shit and puts it into his own words and uses his own metaphors and phrases. And
not a fan of Warhammer
like
40k theories at all?
Not well. I mean, like theories are cool. It's just like I'm more interested in what we can actually like know about the lore and how it's developed over the years and shit like that. But
I got hooked on that one because it's the same. It's one of the voice actors from. You've heard text to speech, I assume, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, his voice is in there, and he's had they've given him cameos and stuff. He's
the guy who puts together the. Emperor had a text-to-speech device thing is just brilliant. Like, those videos are fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, hands down. Blows past his sub account constantly. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I guess just to kind of give you an idea of the stuff that I do is I did a video called The Creepiest Advertisements, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason why I wanted to do that video was because of one specific item. And that was that time when Scooby-Doo did Blair Witch in 1999. Happened? Yes, that happened. And I'm the only one who talks about it.
Holy shit! I've never heard of this before. You're gonna have to link me that video.
Yeah. So I decided to make a 9 of the creepiest commercials ever aired. You know, all that jazz. And I'm like, I talk about a few interesting commercials that you didn't know existed, a few PSAs, and all that jazz. And that's real fun and all that. But then you get to the final one, which is just this 5-minute segment of me recounting the tale of how the Scooby Gang was killed by a Blair Witch-like entity in 1999 on Cartoon Network during prime time.
Jesus.
Yeah, did you what was it? Did you ever do anything like you said you were familiar with Guru Larry, like when he covered Apaches or like the PSA commercials that he winded up covering?
Oh, I didn't do. I'm saving straight up like the long form PSA stuff. I did a few PSA commercials, but I want to say the long form PSAs, like the ones that Larry covered for a different list, because this is just about weird ass commercials.
Yeah, I caught a clip of the one on your trailer with the clown with the eyes bulging out and stuff. I was like, yeah, that is pretty damn freaky.
Yeah. But no. Like, I'm going to say that for a completely different list. I did collab with Guru Larry at one point on my channel. That was when I talked about the biggest pieces of shit on YouTube, called The Worst YouTubers.
Sounds amazing. Whose channel is that on?
It's on mine, and guess what? I called out Logan Paul before Logan Paul decided to film corpses, so, 2020 over here.
Fuck. If I knew you were such good friends with him, I would have asked him to come on. Oh well. There's always another time.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's happening late at night, so, Larry's a British boy, so he'd probably be sleeping right now.
I do have to apologize to him. You know the two of the people that came on for him?
No.
Ryan and Toon.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was Manga Common, Rhino Mills, and Toon Critic. He did heckle Ryan and Toon. He's like, Toon's like, hey, can I ask you questions? No, you may not. Ryan's like, hey, he's like, oh, is there anybody on YouTube that you don't particularly like? Is this a shit-talking podcast?
Oh my God.
He's like, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, are you not familiar with the fucking channel that you're on right now?
I'm sorry, he's one of those filthy commentators, sir. It'll never happen again. Jesus.
Was he upset?
No, he was just dicking around.
Oh, dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Larry's a funny guy. And, like, and when I did my roller coaster video, he left a comment on the video, like, hey, what about Alton Towers? I'm like, oh, shit. That is a deadly theme park. So I had it. So I'm like, okay, does Alton Towers have any commercials? So I have an excuse to talk about it. They did. They had a creepy commercial. I threw the commercial on, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's kind of creepy. Let me tell you why Alton Towers straight up murdered a few people.
Okay, I definitely want to link to some of those. That sounds fucking amazing.
I was gonna say.
My God, you have piqued my interest, sir.
You see, this is what I think lists could be a interesting way to encourage people to learn about new things by taking a generic topic and then rooting through it and finding really cool stuff. For example, like with shockingly disturbing games, I just recently did that. I found a game called Sanitarium, which was really fucked up. But you go to watch Mojo and they're like, "Hey, remember Harvester? Harvester was a freaking horror comedy, idiot." That's not disturbing at all. Sanitarium was. I gotta talk about Lisa the Painful, a painfully underrated game.
I love that game.
I gotta talk about What Remains of Edith Finch, the only walking simulator I can walk in. I got to talk about Duck Season, which, I mean, I know Matt Pat covered it one time, but you don't see many other people talking about it. And I know the only reason why he did is because it kind of looked a little bit like Freddy Fazbear Pizza from a distance.
I do have a funny little bit of funny story about Matt Pat. You don't know who Manga Common is, do you?
I don't.
He does.
I met the guy, though, at VidCon.
Yeah, he's done like a ton of freaking goddamn videos on MatPack. And MatPack's like doing a response to different videos on YouTube or something like, and Common flashes up and all he's like, oh God, it's the hater! Oh God! I grab the video and I show it to Common, he just puts his head down. Oh God.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'm sorry, that mood kill.
I also do know Ryan Mills, that guy you brought up.
Yeah. Well,
it seems like it seems like he's kind of universally disliked here.
I don't. Yeah, once upon a time ago, Ryan was really cool. If you want to bring up the Tats thing again, that's solid.
I was going to do that without it being like meta, but okay.
Okay, I'll edit out the part where I said bring it up again.
Dummy.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Ryan, when I used to work for Tats TopVids, right? And this is like before I think this was before I even had my own YouTube channel, or rather I only had That Brony Show one, and I was just straight up doing voice work and editing for Tats. And Tats links me this video of like a Rhino Mills video where he just like criticizes Tats by saying, "Oh well, this isn't creepy. This isn't a creepy pasta." And then like, "Oh, this was way creepier than that one. Why isn't this higher on the list?" And then other times he would just straight up play 5 segments without cutting, and then be like, "Oh well, those are good." And it made Tats so pissed off because he's like, "Dude, they're just playing my video. They're just straight up playing my video," and it it was like some Jinx level. Yeah.
Sounds like the fucking reaction videos, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is reaction videos before reaction. Like, I mean, I think Ryan was on to something back then.
Straight up ass cancer.
But the video, I think, was copyright stricken because of the fact that he wasn't sufficiently like using his thing. There's this huge like argument between the two groups. Like Tats and like had his camp of people defending him, and Ryan was in his call of people. And then at one point,
being extraordinarily judicious with your language, I see.
I looked over at the other camp. I sent them a message like, "Hey, mind if I get a hold of you?" They get a hold of me, not knowing who I am. They throw me into their big group call, ready to tell me like, "Hello, I'm the head writer for Tats TopVideos." And then everyone just shut up for a second. I'm like, "Okay, let's work out a deal here. All right. See, this is the reason why this happened. If you could not be a dick about it." We are willing to retract the claim if if you want to re-edit the video, like, feel free to do that, so long as just do something here, like make it fair use. We don't. Tats loves it when people actually even react to his videos. He just doesn't like people who are just like needlessly mean and opinionated over an order of a subjective idea, like how creepy something is, and then also just straight up playing his video. Like Tats' entire video was inside of it, and he only had something to say about like 10 of the 30 items. Ouch. So I got in there. I kind of bridged that gap. Made some friends, and then we subsequently stopped talking to him for obvious reasons. I mean, the guy was. I mean, he was. I don't know what the phrase is for it. I think socially unaware is the term I'm looking for.
Once again, this extraordinary judicious use of language that you've got going on.
I mean, it's only because I'm being recorded. If I'm not being recorded, you know how irreverent and awful I can be to people.
I've gotten myself into trouble for speaking my mind on Ryan. I stand behind what I've said.
I don't like I don't really hate the guy. I haven't talked to him since like what 2015,
He's
2014.
really capable of being cool. He just chooses not to be, and that's I
think everyone has the ability to choose to be cool, except for that fat kid in the back of the classroom.
He has the ability to be fun.
Problem.
Okay, there's not everybody has that ability.
Oh, I know that. I know that's all too well.
Oh Lord. Dr. Wolf, for example. Anyways. At least not ironically,
I'm actually really happy. My hey, by the way, Lost, let me know if I'm talking over you a bit too much.
No, I was like, isn't this his podcast? I was like, I'm
it's
here.
It's my podcast? Wow.
Isn't it?
Thank you. No, it's FNGR's.
Isn't this the King of Limbo?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I originally joked with him and I said, I didn't think we'd be able to get back to doing We Still Don't Forgive Toon Critic or not, but since it seems to jump all over the place, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, actually.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was his King of Limbo.
I think bone cancer is a suitable candidate.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Sure.
That works.
Fantastic.
Just bone cancer. I mean, that seems like an awful enough cancer to describe the situation.
Yeah.
And before anyone tells me that's insensitive, my grandmother's going to die in like 3 weeks of bone cancer, so you can just shut the fuck up.
No, I understand, friend.
No, I know you understand, all right? No one understands the pain I'm in all the time! And humor's the only way I have to deal with it! And then you also got that one person who's going to say, oh, man, you know, I know someone who got the bone cancer. That was a insensitive joke. And I'm like, I do too. And then they're like, oh, well, then I guess it's okay now.
I've used it in the exact opposite direction when I got angry enough at somebody. And I said, I've actually had a family member pass away from bone cancer. So when I'm wishing bone cancer on you, don't take it lightly.
I fucking hate people that pull that crap, man. It's like, oh, you're not allowed to joke about this. Well, a family member of mine actually suffered from the. Oh, I guess it's okay. Like, what the fuck? Why can't we just make the goddamn joke? Like,
why can't there's I
don't have to have a family member that died in the fucking Holocaust to make a joke out of Nazis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do know at least someone who died in the Holocaust.
I was gonna say, I think it's more the idea that nothing should be too taboo for comedy. That's one thing I always.
There we go.
Yeah, that's one thing I always hold on to when it comes to like comedy and topics and everything. And you know, there is a time and a place to discuss certain things, but comedy is subjective. And if because you don't fucking like the joke doesn't mean everyone else is not gonna fucking like it. So you need to fucking step off and let us enjoy the joke. Like, what the fuck is the problem with that?
One of the things that
you're going to have to ask the British government about that one.
Oh, get the fuck! Don't get me started on that.
I started this thing on Twitter where I started nominating people for what's it called? I started nominating people like with this thing where like you post a picture of your favorite retro game, you nominate someone, and then you tag 3 other people in there. So I did that, and then next thing you know, all of Channel Awesome's like doing it, and I go like, oh my god, what did I start? But then I did a follow-up tweet to that where I got a little bit of flack, where I'm like, Logan Paul's favorite retro video game was Fatal Frame.
What?
Ooh, I got that reference.
It's a game where you play as a Japanese schoolgirl taking pictures of dead people.
Oh my god.
I mean, to me, that is absolutely hilarious because, like, yeah, I get it. You know, it's a little bit taboo, but you know what? Logan Paul is also kind of a piece of shit, and he kind of still deserves to have shade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
throw shade at him.
I have a question. Do you feel that Logan Paul belongs on YouTube?
No, I think at some point he should have been taken off. Like, okay, I believe in freedom of speech and all that jazz, right? But then he basically makes fun of YouTube, you know, his employer. He circumvents YouTube's algorithms to start trying to make money off of a controversy that actively lost everyone on YouTube money. And then, like, you know, he just didn't ever give a shit. Like, he literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars traveling all over the world to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, man, you know, you went on vacation. I'm glad you're sorry.
And then, like, fucking 2 weeks later, he puts up a video that's like, let's tase dead rats and shit.
Yeah, he's the perfect example of being in your own bubble and not realizing that the actions that anything that you do, considering his fucking platform and how many fucking followers he has, can have rippling, devastating effects on everyone. And nobody was holding him accountable except till YouTube. What is it? Didn't they like turn off the ads on his channel for like 2 weeks or some shit?
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Like YouTube has been looking to do this shit for a long fucking time. Logan Paul was just like the straw that broke the camel's back on that.
They kept him trending, though.
He gave them an excuse for them to look like they care and then implement policies that they actively wanted to implement for like 3-4 years now. And you know, we're gonna like talk about how bad Logan Paul is and how we're gonna have to restructure all our ads and everything like that. And then they keep, like you said, they keep him fucking trending. So we know that YouTube doesn't care. This is all about censorship. This has nothing to do with
their
the
bot
whole thing about
is what kept them trending.
Let's not talk about it like YouTube. Let's put the blame where it is. Susan Wachowski, the head CEO of YouTube, put it right where it goes.
Can I like just like throw some 2 cents in here?
Okay.
They don't manually like pick what is there. They have a bot, right? And the bot takes a few things into account. And the thing is that Logan Paul would do something that would get on the news. The news, the bot takes a look at the fact that he's being referenced all over the place on social media and the internet. And because of that, and the total view
millions
count,
of people are watching his videos. So.
Yeah, it puts on trending. That's why you can sometimes find videos with low view counts actually getting into trending because there's some sort of external source that YouTube has considered trusted talking about it. So Logan Paul films a corpse. The corpse gets on the news. The news ergo puts Logan Paul in trending. It's not a good system, but it's also not like something that was manually malicious.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. As long as the bot that is deciding what goes in the trending feed is not, actively being programmed in a way where it cuts certain things out that. Say, like, let's just take an example here. Like, if Alex Jones does a video about whatever, I don't care. I don't really watch the guy unless a new meme pops up. But if Alex Jones does a video, oh, he is. He is so fucking precious. I love the man to death. I don't trust a fucking word that comes out of his mouth, but I love watching him work. But if he makes a video about whatever, and it gets like millions and millions and millions of views, and it's being talked about on Twitter and Tumblr and all these other places, and the bot actively keeps that video out of the trending feed, that's where I have a problem. Like, even if it's something like horrible, like calling Sandy Hook a false flag or something like that, if people are talking about it, then it should go in the trend. Like, YouTube is either an ideologically neutral platform or it isn't, and I think that they've kind of proven themselves to not be, despite their bot kind of getting out of hand with the Logan Paul thing. Like, they're actively censoring a lot of people. They're taking monetization off of a lot of people right now. Like, YouTube is basically a dead platform. Like, even people who do totally innocuous shit, like the Dawn Somewhere guys, they do like cartoon parodies and shit like that. YouTube is fucking them because of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily Logan Paul's fault. It's not even necessarily Susan Wojcicki's fault. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but whatever. Wachowski?
Yeah, I've Gray Silverman's. He's from Poland, and he explained it. It's pronounced that way. Hopefully I got it right.
And I'm not saying that she's blameless. I'm just saying that you can't lie everything on her, because YouTube is a corporation that's made up of a lot of different people doing a lot of different jobs that are all kind of trending in the same kind of ideological direction. And it's just like YouTube as a company is basically fucked right now. It's like it hasn't even turned a profit since Google bought it. It's like that's why they sold it in the first place.
Wasn't. Yeah, I was about to say it wasn't making a profit in the first place. It is at a loss, but there is a power to YouTube. It is one of the platforms that a lot of people like to use.
Oh, totally. Like, I just think it's really interesting that YouTube wouldn't even exist right now if it wasn't for this huge financial backing, like this huge thing on the internet that everybody fucking uses to do all kinds of shit, like music and commentary and news and all of that stuff. It wouldn't even exist without this huge financial backing. Like, YouTube is a completely unsustainable entity without, a multi-billion-dollar corporation backing it up and taking that loss. I'm sorry, I got on my fucking soapbox there for a minute.
And it was hemorrhaging money before the adpocalypse. Who knows how fucking bad it's doing now? Shit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like, as horrible as what Logan Paul did is, it's not, like, he's not the reason. This is something that YouTube has been planning for a long fucking time. Like, the horror community, the creepypasta community got hit way before all of this shit went down with the Slender Man stabbing, which I'm sure both of you were familiar with.
Oh,
like when that happened, it was basically fucking over. Like, Murphy got up on national news and was talking about the creepypasta community, and the eye was focused on the creepypasta community, and then shit started going south from that. That was like the watershed moment right there, was the Slender Man stabbing. And then it just kind of like started filtering into politics and, all kind of copyright and all kinds of other shit, like right about at that point.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, friendship is fucking magic, I guess.
There was a tiny bit of a segue. There was a brony I remember who wound up saying, well, if I were in Logan Paul's shoes, I probably would have done the same thing. I think there.
If you were in Logan Paul's shoes, you'd also probably be buying billion-dollar mansions.
death has its own dignity. The brony in question, I think they're from Tumblr. Jesus, I wish I could remember that they got like 2 names. Jim, help me with this one here.
Can you give me some hints, because I might know who you're talking about?
Word bank.
So yeah, something about water. I forget.
Oh fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. Never mind.
I barely keep up. There's like 5 bronies on Tumblr that I follow anymore that are actively engaged in the community, and most of them are like anti-social justice, and I'm just following them out of habit at this point.
Oh, I think this one used to be friends with Josh. I don't know. I forgot the name.
And then they really said that they would have probably done the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
The only problem that I even like really have with the whole social justice movement is like let's face it here, you can kind of see the intent that they're trying to have, and that is like to make people feel better, stop discrimination, and
positive
all
social
that
change,
jazz.
basically.
And positive social change, but then they go about doing it in the worst possible ways while also not realizing the possible repercussions. Like MTV says, we're not restricting freedom of speech, we're just telling you what you can and can't say, because if you don't, then I'm like, okay, you are arguing for the illegalization of speech that offends you. But the thing is that throughout history, a lot of things were considered offensive, slaves, freeing them, people would have called you redundant. They would have called you, literally,
like fucking our country's founders, man. I want to say it was Alexander Hamilton owned slaves because it would have been illegal. He hated the practice of slavery, or was it Washington? It was one of the founding fathers. Owned slaves and talked about how bad slavery was, but he was legally unable to just cut them loose and free them. So he had to find workarounds in the law, like getting them to work for their freedom and shit like that, so that he could get the slaves off of his property legally. It was a thing back in the day where slavery was just the thing that you did. It was an accepted practice.
Okay, but that's not really what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is people who are abolitionists, who are arguing against slavery, would have been called controversial, offensive, and if they banned offensive speech, then we'd probably have slaves for a lot longer. That's the problem here. The thing is that in a society of free speech, we need to have equal footing for every idea. Good ideas are going to probably get pushed up. Bad ideas are going to get pushed down, and clashing ideological views are going to fight in a free marketplace of society. But the moment you start saying, hey, the Nazis aren't allowed to talk and the KKK aren't allowed to talk, the more you get them to group up together and start talking to yourselves. And do you really want a roving band of Nazis and Ku Klux Klan members talking about how much they hate black people?
Well, I mean, that's basically what happened with the alt-right. They started cracking down on, speech. And I'm not defending the alt-right. I'm not alt-right, but I can see the chain of causality here. You've got all of these people talking all of this social justice shit that gets under a lot of people's skin because they're going about it in a bad way. And then you've got, all of these people who are pissed off and actively being censored, and there are calls for them to be censored. So they group up and they form this bigger group out of their smaller parts. And you've got people now you've got people like Andy Worski with his show that was like fucking #1 trending live stream in the world, with Richard fucking Spencer talking with Sargon of Akkad. It's this chain of when you start censoring these people, you make them a forbidden fruit. The Daily Stormer was the ass end of every fucking white nationalist, white supremacist joke on the fucking internet for like a decade. And then what happens as soon as they try to censor them? They're more popular than ever. People are actually looking at their ideas and taking them seriously, which they had never done before because we just treated them like a fucking joke. Because they were, and they still are. But this whole censorship thing, it's not good for anybody.
If someone gave you a link, for example, to something on Limited State, you'd be more likely to look at it. So I see your point. I'm gonna quote basically what Medicare and how he basically showed it, and he's like, it's Jerry Springer more or less. You used to watch white supremacists argue and act stupid on all those dumb reality talk shows, like Geraldo or Oprah or all this shit. You used to point and laugh at them. Now that they're doing it on YouTube, suddenly this is forbidden. Why? Am I way off base or out of line?
No.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into like the political podcast and shit.
All right.
Oh man, welcome to Politics 101 with your brother Creapy.
Yeah. I assume that was a possibility.
Hey guys, I just want to let you know that I don't know why black people don't get along with me. I want them to be my friends and my homies and niggas, but they won't. They don't seem to be receptive. So I moved to Detroit and got my ass kicked.
Oh, it's funny you were talking about that. Fucking, I remember when Kichi met fucking Jim Fair. She like PMs me. She's like, "This guy's way cooler than Ryan." Oh, shit.
Why? Because Ryan tries to suck up the black people and I don't?
I don't know what it was. It's just like Ryan's usually wacky and cool, and that was like one of her favorite people. I remember sending that to Ryan. I think he sent something racial obscene back at me. And he's like, "Well, fuck that." Oh,
Jesus.
No, I could tell. Fun stuff. Did we run out of shit to talk about? Because I got like an hour editing.
Well, I will. If you want me to leave on one note here.
Yeah.
And I would like to totally get out this opinion here that me and I Hate Everything have stated many times on the subject of making videos responding to people.
Yeah.
People will always say that's attacking them, right?
Yeah.
And to some level, they are correct. If you make a video about someone, you are going to send people to attack them. And if you make a video poorly, you're going to send a lot of people to attack them. There are ways that you can like make a video and word a video where you can word it as though you're having a disagreement with someone, present your side of the argument for why you're right, and then just, I guess, have the court of public opinion decide whether or not, they want to agree with you. But, if you don't word it like that, you don't put your little disclaimers like don't attack people, this, and this, and this, and you don't do all that. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure a lot of us here know who someone who does that. You're gonna end up sicking your fan base on someone unfairly, and they're going to be kind of ravenous. Because the thing we gotta all remember here is that 12-year-olds watch all of us. 12-year-olds are stupid. They're idiots. They can get, what's the phrase?
Emotional.
Yeah.
Immature. And they're also the type of people that think it's a pretty good idea to call a SWAT team to kill someone. So,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, like I get what you're saying, and it is a good idea to just put that disclaimer in there. Like, I'm not saying anybody should go and attack these people. I do that shit on my podcast all the time when I'm talking about people or whatever. But, it's not my responsibility if somebody listens to my podcast and I'm calling somebody like a stupid faggot or whatever. And people are going to listen to my podcast and then they go find this person on Twitter and start harassing. Like, that's not my fault.
I don't think it is your fault either.
Something that I wanted to talk about, Yeah,
it's not your fault either. And you shouldn't necessarily feel beholden to the idea of some internet stranger going out of their way to bully someone. But, like saying things like, oh, don't attack this person, or please, for the love of Christ, can you not call a SWAT team? A SWAT team? The white SWAT team?
Do you want me to edit that? That was pretty bad.
No, keep that in there. That the white SWAT team is a pretty good group of people.
Okay. So you're advocating for right-wing death squads right now. Am I getting that right?
Well, you're not wrong.
Oh, fantastic. I'm just imagining Lost Narrator crying and rocking back and forth right now, going, what the fuck? This is one of Josh's friends. My show is much more professional normally.
I'm going to post this show on poll, FMGR. When this gets done, I'm going to post it on poll. I hope you know that.
Oh, I hope so. God, they'll just, if you're going to be posting it anonymously, like, oh, look, it's FNGR pimping himself.
Oh, God. Okay, so, I'm saying that, like, it's okay to talk about people, call people out, respond to people, as long as you do so with, basic decency and respect, and also do so with, like, the idea that you're discouraging your audience to doing that, because let's face it, your 12-year-olds watch everybody, and those people need to be directly told, hey, don't call a SWAT team.
I think it's tone.
I would try not to alert my fans that that's an option.
Yeah.
I would stop telling people.
That's why we use the word "don't attack."
Yeah, there you go. That's way better.
Yeah, like the Streisand effect is a thing. The more you talk about something, the more likely, or the more you try to bury something actively.
Well, like we stopped really covering, like in YouTube, we stopped really covering it. YouTube actually had a stance against covering swattings, you know, and all that jazz. But even though we didn't talk about swattings, the swattings increased in number.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the thing that you need to understand is
that still on the books? Because you just gave me a whole part there to cut. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, you could talk about that, the swatting thing. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. Like, there's this recent story where this kid swatted another dude and it ended up getting the address wrong, and then the SWAT team killed a father of 3 kids.
Isn't it like 10, 20 years minimal or some shit like that for doing a false SWAT thing?
I have no idea, honestly.
It would have to be, because that's like
most
really
of the people who do it are
shit.
children, so therefore they kind of get let off pretty easily.
That's probably going to be on your record for fucking life, though. You know.
Yeah, that's not something I could see them letting go once you turn. That's one of those things that, like, you get sent to juvie for, and then when you reach age of majority, they just transfer you to a real prison for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, they would try you as a kid, though, and you can't go to prison for more than, like, depending on where you're at, for more than, like, 20 years.
More than 20 years?
I would say that's fair.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. All crimes are reduced in terms of severity. So a 20-year prison sentence as a kid is what you get for murder.
Yeah.
While this would be no more than like 3-4 years max.
For anyone listening, we are not legal experts.
I was going to say.
I would not. If you're like going, 3-4 years, I could do that on my head. No.
No.
Yep. I would
No.
really suggest you not. Yeah. Don't
Listen to me, because every state has their own laws. Right now, I think I'm quoting Canadian law at you. So please don't use me as a legal advisor on whether or not you should SWAT someone.
I feel like I should cut.
Something I don't want on my
I
conscience.
really think I should cut that whole part about swatting.
Yeah, I'm thinking you should cut that.
Yeah. Good.
Okay,
God.
quick segue. Are you a Leaf?
I am here.
Yeah, he's a Canadian.
You are a Canadian. Okay, just making sure.
I'm from. Well, you know, I mean, I lived in Canada, so.
Okay.
I'm from Detroit, moved to
I'm not
Canada,
trying to
moved
get you to
back, and now I'm
dox
poor.
yourself or anything like that. I'm just wondering.
My leaf. I thought you were making a Leafy is here joke, and I was like,
oh wow, yeah, no. I'd hope my friends wouldn't be calling you.
Did I say irreverent? I meant to say irrelevant. There we go. That's someone I don't mind pissing off.
Well, yeah, fuck him.
What the fuck did Leafy do? I'm out of the loop on. I don't watch Leafy.
Oh no, they're just in general. I'll give him this.
That's fair
Anyone
enough.
who makes their career off of making fun of little kids for making bad videos needs to just stop.
Yep.
Actually, I do. The only situation I know where he fucked with a brony was somebody who was harassing one of my exes, so I was okay with that.
Didn't he?
I mean, okay.
He went
like,
after-
talking about
he
bronies,
he
just-
went
just
after-
like kids.
He went
No,
after he went after Tootsie Roll, who I know for
Yeah,
a
I was gonna
fact.
say he made a video on Tootsie. I was almost positive he did.
Yeah, I know, and he was Tootsie used to fucking harass my ex Knickers, so I was like, oh, good for you, Tootsie. Fuck him. I hold a grudge like you won't believe. Holy shit.
You're gonna have a lot of fun editing, my dude.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm leaving.
I
the
can't
leafy.
believe I said something on this podcast that you needed to cut out.
I'm leaving the leafy part in. Fuck that. I don't care.
Oh no,
The doxing part,
The other
yeah.
thing
No, that's gotta go.
about white nationalism.
Oh, that? I'm half Mexican. That's your problem, pal.
No, I'm trying to say it without saying it. But the part that you said you needed to cut out.
Oh no, that part
And
before
I'm-
that. Yeah, no. The
What
D.
about
You gotta
12-year-olds and what they like to do with their cell phones?
Sure.
You got to remember, he lives in Canada, man. He can get arrested for advocating right-wing death squads up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I live in Detroit now. No, I'll just get lynched.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
And you
That's
think
not
I'm
so
wrong,
bad.
but no, I mean it can get pretty bad over here.
Oh Lord.
Well,
I think they tried. I think I went to a convention, and like I think someone tried to kill the Green Power Ranger.
Yes.
So-
David
They
Frank. Serious?
Yeah, that somebody I forget what con it was, but somebody literally tried, and they were going to attack him. I don't know how, but he was a fanatic, where he had been stalking him for a pretty long time.
Okay, and they caught him at the GM building, and now the GM building don't like cons.
Nope.
It was kind of like a Dimebag Daryl situation from Pantera.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I never found out how Dimebag Daryl passed away.
He didn't pass away. He was shot on stage in the middle of a show because the fan blamed him for the breakup of Pantera.
Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, the guy just, like, walked up on stage, pulled out a gun, and plugged him in the chest. It was bad. Well, that's a mood killer.
Yeah.
So I think the note we should end on is don't be a garbage person.
Yeah.
Just don't do that.
Hey, garbage people,
Too late.
stay in the trash can.
Okay.
It's far too late for me. You can all
Look
still
at
save
that
yourself.
guy, the Grouch Boy from the Sesame Seed Street.
All right.
He knows where he needs to be.
I
He knows
look forward to
where he
getting lost 3 years later from now. All right, stop.